Thank you. Okay, one sec, Carter. Go ahead.
In the words of Kendrick Lamar, brace yourselves, I'll take you on a trip down memory lane. Okay, imagine this. It is summertime. It's very hot, you're walking outside, you're sweating profusely. It's right before the evening, let's say about 5 or 6 o'clock, and you walk past your neighbor, and he greets you, inviting you to come in. He gives you a drink, and the next moment, he grabs you. Today I'm going to inform you of 2 factors affecting sexual assault in the United States and the Netherlands. In June 2017, the Department of Justice defined sexual assault on their website as any type of sexual contact or behavior that occurs without the explicit consent of the recipient. To give you some perspective on the issue, if you counted to 99 before you got done, someone in the United States would have already been assaulted. The reason I want to share this with you today, because this experience has already affected at least one person in this room, and I, like the rest of you, have already seen countless emails from campus police about rape involved on campus. The most recent one was literally just earlier this week on Monday. It's very sad. The 2 main factors that affect sexual assault in the United States and the Netherlands are who the victim is and who the offender is. To be clear, there are infinitely many factors, but these are the ones that I'm going to talk with you today in the time that I have. First, let's discuss the first factor of how who the victim is can affect sexual assault in the U.S. and the Netherlands. When I say who the victim is, I'm talking about the profile of who is being assaulted. This regards mainly gender and age of the victim. According to the peer-reviewed journal entry, the Juvenile Sex Offender, Criminal Careers, and Life Events written in April 2015, only 10% of sexual assault cases reported were of adults in the Netherlands. This means that 90% of sexual assaults in the Netherlands happen to minors. In the Netherlands, 40% of women have experienced sexual assault in some fashion, and 20% for men, according to a peer-reviewed journal entry, Prevalence of Non-Volitional Sex Types and Associated Factors. And this is a national sample of young people conducted in the Netherlands of July 2015. Now in the United States, the American Psychological Association stated in 2014 that 1 in every 4 females were sexually harassed in adolescence, or 1 in 6 for boys. 67% of all sexual assault cases that are reported happen to minors in the United States. If you think that's bad, half of those cases happen to minors under the age of 12. A government-funded study done in 2007 conducted by the National Crime Victims Research and Treatment Center in South Carolina said 18% of all women have been raped in their lifetime at some point. Ladies, only 12% of rapes committed against women in college are reported. This means if we had 100% of all the incidents actually get reported, we should be receiving over 7 times the volume of assault-related emails that we currently are right now. Sexual assault in the United States and the Netherlands is most likely with minors. The most common age group to be sexually harassed is teenagers aged 16 to 19, based on the Department of Justice's website in 2017. Now that we have talked about how who the victim is actually affects sexual assault, let's talk about who the offender is and how it's affected in both countries. In the same scholarly journal entry I found at our library entitled The Juvenile Sex Offender, Criminal Careers and Life Events that I quoted earlier from 2015, the research noticed that sexual offending for most offenders in the Netherlands was most obsolete in their life during adult turning points, such as new work, marriage, and even parenthood. So what this means is when offenders are in a stagnant period of their life, like working for the same job for 10 years or so, they are more likely to commit sexual assault. Now, regarding the United States, according to the National Sex Offender Public website derived from the Department of Justice in 2004, 20% of offenders were juvenile. This means only 80% of offenders are above 18. Tons of emotions and experiences compile into these offenses. In the U.S., there's even a percentage of people who were sexually abused in their past and reciprocated that abuse onto someone else later on. Findings within the Department of Justice in the United States in a peer-reviewed sample from the Netherlands taken by PLOS1 in 2015, you guys, I don't expect you all to know that, report actually that 80% of sexual assault accounts involve the victim knowing their abuser beforehand. To recap, I hope you have a better understanding of who the victim is and who the offender is and how it affects sexual assault in the United States and the Netherlands. In the words of Kendrick Lamar, the sky is falling, the wind is calling. Stand for something or die in the morning. Thank you.
Okay, let's give Benji our attention. Go ahead, dear.
In 2011, L.B. Kotler did a study about painkillers in the NFL. She found that 52% of the players use painkillers, and then 71% of that 52% reported misuse of the painkiller. Today I'm going to inform you about 3 professional athletes that had been prescribed opiate-based painkillers and they had negative effects. Examples of opiate-based painkillers are oxycodone, hydrocodone, methadone, and morphine. I'm sure many of you all have heard of these, and you might have even had them. And I'm also pretty sure that a lot of you all play sports or enjoy watching them. For me, I had a injury in the realm of action sports. My freshman year of high school, I was going down a mountain biking trail and went up a ramp and landed headfirst in a ditch on a rock. When I woke up, I had a gash in my head and a broken arm. The doctor prescribed me oxycodone, and actually I was prescribed too much and had to half the dosage because it started to have negative effects on my body. There was an article in 2014, it was actually a case study by Philip Valise, and this talked about how if you were a high school athlete, you are more likely to be prescribed pain medication for the rest of your life. Also, if you play sports in high school, then you are more likely to end up selling your prescribed pain medication. And this presents an issue that affected Aaron Gray and Dylan Walker, which were 2 athletes from Australia that play rugby. These 2 men had postseason surgery on injuries, as reported by Lesler Manson in 2014, and they were prescribed tramadol, which is an opiate-based painkiller. Now, unfortunately, these 2 men decided to get together one night and supplement tramadol with Target, which is another opiate-based painkiller. And by the end of the night, they ended up in the hospital with life-threatening, with a life-threatening situation. This would not have happened if they would have known what medicines to take and what medicines not to take with other painkillers. The next athlete I would like to talk about is Derek Bogard. Derek Bogard was a Canadian athlete who played hockey, and he actually ended up playing in the NHL, which is the National Hockey League. His position on the ice was the enforcer, and for those of you who don't know much about hockey, the enforcer is the individual who is the most aggressive and who acquires the most injuries throughout their career. Because of this, he was constantly prescribed opiate-based pain medication, which resulted in his death in 2013, as reported by Daryl Adair. And he mixed oxycodone with alcohol and he was found in his apartment. And also, 2017, Daryl Adair wrote in ESPN that a lawsuit was filed by the parents of Derek Bogard to the NHL because the doctors knew that Derek was addicted to the painkillers, but they continued to prescribe them, which led to his death. If he would have known also that you can't mix alcohol and opiate-based painkillers because it is deadly. In conclusion, the usage and dosage of opiate-based painkillers needs to be more closely monitored, and athletes need to be better informed as to what you can take, when you can take it, and what you can supplement it with, because this will save them from jeopardizing their career and Derek Bogard's situation, ultimately his life. Thank you.